What is up? What is up, YouTube? Hey, Floyd Mayweather? This is one day ago. Floyd Mayweather just lost everything. Is this the end? What? Official fired. Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm reading Breaking Top Bad Boy Executive. Whatever. Texas attorney explains Camilla Ellis. Okay. Breaking news, Diddy Bad Boy. Okay. I just want to do it up. It is too many stories. Floyd Mayweather just lost everything. Y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Let's see what this bad boy about, man. Let's check this bad boy.
Are going over right now. Questions. That's what Baldwin County investigators are going over right now after a huge money seizure along I-65.
Today, the Interstate Interdiction Task Force found this money in a search of a semi on I-65 in Baldwin County.
Breaking news. What the feds just uncovered in Floyd Mayweather's house is terrifying. They're going after Floyd Mayweather's bag. Remember the brother that walked around with $100 million check in his bag, said he ain't even got to cash it? Well, they on his line.
Floyd Mayweather just lost everything. And no, this isn't just another headline. From private jets and billion-dollar bragging rights to whispers of scams, lawsuits, and a $402 million financial disaster, the money man may be out of money. Is this the fall of boxing's most controversial empire, or the biggest scam in sports history? Let's break it all down. Floyd Mayweather as money. He was just a kid from New Brunswick, New Jersey, living in a cramped one-bedroom apartment with 6 family members. There was no heat, no lights, and certainly no silver spoons. His mother struggled with substance abuse. His father, a former boxer himself, was in and out of prison. Floyd didn't just grow up around boxing. He was born into it, molded by survival. His earliest memories weren't of championships or cameras, but of darkness and cold. Yet, even in those conditions, Floyd never cried, never complained. He trained. By the time he hit the Olympic stage in 1996 and secured a bronze medal, Floyd already had the work ethic of a champion. In the early professional years, he was known as Pretty Boy Floyd, quick, smooth, technically brilliant, and nearly untouchable in the ring. But behind the scenes, he was battling more than opponents. Despite his dominance, Floyd wasn't earning what he felt he deserved. Under top-rank promotions, he was bringing in just a few million per fight, while his bouts were generating tens of millions in revenue. That's when everything changed. In 2006, Mayweather made the boldest move of his career. He bought out his contract with Top Rank for $750,000, betting on himself in a way that few fighters ever had. It was a risky decision. Stepping out from under the protection of a powerful promoter meant he had to build something new entirely on his own. But Floyd wasn't just looking to be a fighter anymore. He wanted to be a mogul. This was the birth of Money Mayweather. With his new company, Mayweather Promotions, he took complete control over his fights, his image, and, most importantly, the revenue. From there, his fortune exploded. Within a few years, he was commanding $100 million plus per fight, becoming the highest-paid athlete in the world and rewriting the blueprint for how boxers could do business. But when the money started rolling in, so did the problems. Floyd Mayweather didn't just rebrand, he reinvented the business of boxing. Gone was the humble, soft-spoken pretty boy. In his place stood Money Mayweather, the man with private jets, Bugattis, and $1 million watch collections, all filmed and flaunted on social media. He wore his arrogance like armor, walking into press conferences draped in luxury, throwing cash into crowds, taunting rivals with cold precision. And the craziest part? It worked. Floyd became the most hated man in the sport, and that was exactly the point. He understood something most athletes never grasp. People didn't have to love you to pay to see you. In fact, it was better if they didn't. The world paid to watch him lose. And when he didn't, they paid again and again and again. In marketing terms, he became the perfect heel, the villain you couldn't ignore. And while others chased titles, Floyd chased attention. He fought smart. He picked his opponents carefully, played mind games masterfully, and walked away from every bout with both the win and the bag. His record remained flawless: 50 wins, 0 losses. But outside the ring, the admiration was more conflicted. Fans praised his defensive genius, but criticized his showmanship. Commentators called him the most strategic fighter of all time, while simultaneously questioning his ego. His self-promotion was unmatched, but so was the backlash. Mayweather wasn't just a boxer, he was a brand, a lifestyle, a walking contradiction. He didn't care if you respected him, just that you tuned in. And tune in they did. With great wealth came even greater excess. Floyd Mayweather's spending wasn't just extravagant, it was legendary. From walking into Gucci with $1 million in a duffel bag to closing down entire malls for private $15 million shopping sprees, Mayweather lived like a man untouchable by consequence. His Instagram was a shrine to opulence. Fleets of luxury cars, diamond-encrusted watches worth more than most homes, and stacks of cash spread across hotel beds like confetti. He once revealed his most expensive watch cost $18 million. But while Floyd was counting millions, his relationships were falling apart. The first cracks appeared within his own family. Floyd Sr., his father and early trainer, publicly admitted that their relationship deteriorated as Floyd's fame and spending increased. They once shared a tight bond, united by boxing. But as Floyd's obsession with wealth grew, so did the distance between them. "We never had arguments," his father once said, "until the money came in." It wasn't about training anymore, it was about pride, control, and who really deserved the credit.
Crazy.
Then came the fallout with 50 Cent, once one of Floyd's closest friends and business collaborators. Their bromance was the stuff of hip-hop headlines until it imploded. 50 Cent later revealed that Floyd became consumed by money, no longer valuing loyalty or friendship. Their partnership soured over financial disputes, with 50 claiming Floyd refused to repay investments and began treating people as disposable. And perhaps the most painful split came with Gervonta "Tank" Davis, Mayweather's prized protege. Tank accused Floyd of purposely keeping him dependent, of feeding him crumbs to maintain control. Despite the fame and fight purses, Tank felt exploited, more like a pawn than a partner. "They put you in a position where you always need them," Tank said. "To the world, it looks like they're helping, but it's manipulation." These weren't isolated incidents. They were symptoms of a pattern. As Floyd's fortune skyrocketed, trust eroded, and the people who once stood by him began walking away. His wealth was real, but so was the cost of keeping it. And with every mansion built and every bridge burned, a question grew louder. Was this the price of greatness or greed? As Floyd's bank account swelled, so did his ego, and not everyone was clapping. While Mayweather's skill was never in question, his arrogance became a central talking point, especially when he openly dismissed boxing legends like Muhammad Ali. In an infamous interview, Floyd boldly stated, "Out of all these fighters in the history of boxing, I've accomplished more than every fighter in the history of boxing." He cited Ali's losses, including to Leon Spinks, who had just 7 professional fights, and went further by suggesting Ken Norton had beaten Ali all 3 times they met, an opinion not widely supported by historians or analysts. The backlash was immediate. Stephen A. Smith, one of ESPN's most prominent voices, called Floyd's comments blasphemous, reminding audiences that legacy isn't just about records, it's about what you stood for. Ali fought not only in the ring, but outside of it, for civil rights, for dignity, for something bigger than himself. Mayweather, Smith argued, stood only for money. Mike Tyson also weighed in, calling Floyd too into himself, and warning that eventually, all fighters must confront reality. Tyson, who had walked the same path of superstardom, excess, and isolation, suggested that Floyd's detachment from humility was damaging not just to his relationships, but to his soul. The public seemed to agree. People didn't tune in to Mayweather fights out of admiration. They tuned in hoping to see him lose. In fact, many fans considered it a spectator sport to root against him. His brilliance in the ring was undeniable, but outside it, he was a symbol of unchecked ego. He'd become the villain, and not just by choice. This narrative hit even harder with Tank Davis, Floyd's once loyal protege. Tank didn't just part ways professionally, he did so emotionally, accusing Floyd of manipulating him into dependency. Davis described a subtle but persistent strategy of control, giving just enough to keep someone loyal, but never enough to make them independent. His words weren't said in anger. They were delivered with pain, almost like a warning to others. The deeper the riches, the deeper the rift. Floyd's relationships were fraying under the weight of his own success, and the world was starting to ask, at what point does legacy become collateral damage? After retiring undefeated in 2017, Floyd Mayweather could have stepped away from the sport as a legend, but instead, he entered a new chapter, one that many argue is tarnishing his legacy, the era of the exhibition match. It started with a bang, a lucrative exhibition against Japanese kickboxer Tenshin Nasukawa, followed by a headline-grabbing bout against YouTube star Logan Paul. These matches, while profitable, were viewed as sideshows by many in the boxing community. They lacked competitiveness, carried no official stakes, and felt more like cash grabs than sporting events. Critics didn't hold back. Chael Sonnen, a former MMA star and outspoken commentator, said bluntly, "Floyd's still fighting because he needs the money." Sonnen claimed Floyd never earned as much as the headline suggested, and that his post-career exhibitions were driven not by passion, but by necessity. Eddie Hearn, one of boxing's most respected promoters, also took aim. He called Mayweather's events naff, suggesting they had become irrelevant to serious fans and unlikely to bring in the pay-per-view numbers of old. When Mayweather fought at London's O2 Arena in early 2023, Hearn said bluntly, "I don't know anyone who even knew the fight was happening." Then came the controversies over fighter pay. Logan Paul publicly accused Mayweather of failing to pay him his full cut from their bout, a claim that added fuel to growing concerns about Floyd's financial transparency. Deji, another influencer who fought Mayweather, also implied financial dealings weren't as smooth or professional as fans might expect from a former world champion. These aren't isolated accusations. They reflect a deeper pattern. Critics began to ask, "You made $1 billion, Floyd, but did you pay your people?" The more these stories came out, the more fans started to question whether Mayweather's obsession with money had turned from business strategy into something more desperate. What began as a power move, building his own empire, now looked increasingly like damage control. Behind the sparkling veneer of private jets and championship belts, troubling signs began to emerge. In 2023, Business Insider published a report scrutinizing Floyd's claims of real estate dominance. While Mayweather had publicly claimed to own over 60 properties, the investigation revealed that many of these were co-owned or financed through complex arrangements, and that his true ownership stake was far less than advertised. The article questioned whether Mayweather had embellished his holdings to maintain his brand. Then came the $402 million scam allegations, tied to a cryptocurrency promotion that Floyd endorsed, a move that drew the attention of the SEC. While Floyd denied any wrongdoing, the financial and legal implications sparked headlines and further fueled the growing narrative. The empire might be hollow. Perhaps the most bizarre chapter was the rumor that Floyd had been trapped in Dubai due to unpaid debts. Online, the story gained traction fast, especially when fans believed Floyd was being detained overseas. But then, out of nowhere, a viral TikTok showed Mayweather sitting courtside at a Clippers game in Los Angeles. The internet lit up. Was the Dubai story fake? Was it a clone? Why didn't the stadium spotlight Floyd as the celebrity guest of the night? The truth is still unclear. Some believe the Dubai claim was a hoax. Others think he quietly resolved a legal issue before reappearing. What's certain is that these types of stories would have been unthinkable at the peak of his career. And then there's Chael Sonnen's bombshell. In an interview, Sonnen claimed that despite all the hype about $100 million nights and billion-dollar earnings, Floyd may have only earned around $100 million in total net profit over his entire career. A shocking contrast to the narrative Floyd built, but one that's supported by the sheer cost of his lifestyle, legal fees, entourage payroll, and non-stop spending. Suddenly, the empire that once seemed untouchable began to show cracks. Mayweather might have built the richest brand in boxing history, but did he also build a house of cards? Once, Floyd Mayweather's fights were cultural events, blockbuster nights that united celebrities, sports fans, and casual viewers around a common goal: to watch Floyd win, or better yet, to finally see him lose. Now, those golden nights feel like a distant memory. In recent years,
facts.
Mayweather has shifted entirely to exhibition fights, unregulated, unofficial bouts that blur the line between sport and spectacle. But where fans once paid top dollar to see him box, the buzz has faded. His 2023 exhibition against British reality TV star Aaron Chalmers at London's iconic O2 Arena was a stark contrast to the sold-out spectacles of the past. Attendance was so poor that large sections of the arena remained empty, despite heavy promotion. Even industry insiders like Eddie Hearn admitted they didn't know anyone who was even aware the fight was happening. Pay-per-view sales? A fraction of what they once were. The optics were clear. The man who once headlined record-breaking events now struggled to fill a venue. Worse still, questions about Floyd's true financial health began swirling like never before. How could the man who claimed to have made over $1 billion in his career still be fighting for relatively small purses against unknown opponents? Prominent voices in combat sports have sounded the alarm. Chael Sonnen has repeatedly questioned Floyd's earnings, suggesting that much of the billion-dollar narrative was inflated for brand value, not reality. According to Sonnen, Floyd's net take-home earnings could be closer to $100 million after taxes, team expenses, lifestyle maintenance, and luxury overheads are factored in. When you consider that Mayweather reportedly spent $1 million a month just on upkeep for his fleet of vehicles, private planes, and staff, the math starts to make sense, and not in a good way. Then came the Dubai scandal, a viral rumor claiming Mayweather was being held in the UAE due to unpaid debts. It was quickly disputed after a TikTok user spotted him courtside at an NBA game, but the fact that so many people believe the story speaks volumes. Public faith in Mayweather's financial status had eroded. To fans, the man who had spent years building an image of limitless wealth suddenly looked vulnerable. And then, the question echoed through comment sections, forums, and fan circles. He sold the dream of wealth, but was it all a facade? When you strip away the glitter, the Gucci, and the glare of luxury watches, what remains of Floyd Mayweather's legacy? In the ring, his record is untouchable: 50 wins, 0 losses. He faced elite competition across multiple weight classes and, at his peak, made world champions look like amateurs.
He was a beast. Oh, don't get it twisted. He was a beast, baby. He was a beast.
His defensive mastery and ring IQ changed how boxing was viewed. A true technician in a sport often dominated by brute force. Floyd Mayweather is without question one of the greatest boxers to ever live. But outside the ropes, the picture is murkier. He reinvented the business model of boxing. Yes, he became the blueprint for financial independence in a sport notorious for exploitation. But as he scaled the heights of fame and fortune, his personal life unraveled. Friendships collapsed under the weight of money, from 50 Cent's betrayal to the heartbreaking departure of Tank Davis, who went from protege to critic. His relationship with his father, once foundational to his success, was damaged by power struggles and pride. Business partners, fans, even fellow athletes grew wary of Floyd's arrogance. And for many in the boxing world, his relentless pursuit of wealth came at the cost of something even greater: respect. He alienated boxing purists with his exhibitions. He angered critics with dismissive comments about icons like Muhammad Ali. And he created a public image so heavily tied to materialism that any sign of vulnerability, like a bounced paycheck or an empty arena, felt like poetic justice to those who once rooted for his downfall. Still, it would be dishonest to call Floyd a failure. He redefined success on his own terms. He made more money than any other boxer in history. He left the sport with his brain, body, and bank account mostly intact, something most fighters can only dream of. But perhaps that's the tragic beauty of Floyd's story. He won every round in the ring, yet lost so much outside of it. The greatest defensive boxer the sport has ever seen may have built walls so high, not even those closest to him could reach him anymore. In protecting himself from financial predators and rivals, he may have also walled himself off from genuine connection, loyalty, and legacy. So we're left with one final haunting question. Floyd Mayweather might have won every fight in the ring, but did he lose the battle of life? If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like this video to support the channel. Subscribe to Boxing is Here for the latest updates, fight breakdowns, and expert analysis. And turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Until next time, peace out.
Until next time, peace out. Oh man, I thought Floyd was in jail or something, man. I was like, so I went on and did that. Floyd Mayweather just lost everything. No, he played the game, man. He played the game his way. You know, you may not like the, how he played it, and badmouth other boxers that that you would never say nothing bad about, like Muhammad Ali. What? Man, you crazy, man. Here goes somebody else. Wait a minute, man. You got two. Hold up, man. I gotta play this. Was he in jail?
I sit here with sadness today.
What?
To report to you that I'm incredibly disappointed in one of my all-time favorite fighters, my brother, Floyd Money Mayweather. Ladies and gentlemen, chaos broke out. And I'm not talking about legit, bona fide boxing, pure boxing chaos. I'm talking about the kind of stuff that's just embarrassing. Look at this here, please.
This is a beautiful house, my man. How many square feet is this?
A little bit over 20,000 square feet. 3 or 4 levels.
Money Mayweather, seems appropriate that you would be living in Vegas.
My mentality is always about, working smarter, not harder.
Floyd Money Mayweather was once the epitome of boxing success and financial prowess, but recent revelations suggest a different story. Stephen A. Smith questions the stability of Mayweather's empire. Could the undefeated champ be facing his toughest opponent yet? Financial ruin. Let's break down the $402 million scandal that's shaking the boxing world.
The $1 million garage.
I know we're on television, Floyd, but I think it's necessary for me to say, damn.
Well, we on ESPN. This car costs $3.2 million. This Bugatti right here costs $1.6 million. It's close to 15 million. You're right, it's close to 15 million.
And you don't drive them?
No.
Floyd Mayweather has spent years branding himself as the highest paid athlete on the planet, boasting about $100 million paydays every time his name hits the headlines.
Yes, she did.
Who got the highest gate?
Floyd Mayweather.
Who made the most money?
You did.
Who was the most accurate fighter of all time?
You were.
So it's basically saying that...
The greatest of all time.
Okay.
All right.
But now, one voice from the fight world is tearing that entire narrative apart. Former UFC title contender and analyst Chael Sonnen is calling it one of the greatest illusions in sports marketing, suggesting that Mayweather's so-called 9-figure fight checks might have been nothing more than smoke and mirrors.
Coined this phrase, fake news. Yeah. Why is he saying that? What does that even mean? You can trust the news. There's no such thing as fake. People were dressed up as empty seats, and I mean thousands of people.
No.
I bought my mother's ticket that day. That day, my mother decides that she wants to go to the fight. So I'm in there, and I'm telling the world that this place is sold out because that's what's on the screen. And it's not even close. This isn't like, it's pretty much fun. This isn't. There's thousands of empty seats. That was the first time that in my own life I ever just, wow, fake news is real.
Wow.
And then Mayweather and McGregor, they wanted a rematch. They were begging. They were doing more media trying to get a rematch than they did leading into the first match. And the guys that wrote the checks.
So while Mayweather flashed watches, jets, and bank slips, the hard financial proof, according to Sonnen, never actually surfaced. No broadcast partner, no third-party verification, just headlines.
Whoever puts that press release and sends it out never has a company that's publicly traded had an executive back those numbers. They're all lies.
And this raises a brutal question. Was Mayweather's empire built on actual checks, or just hype, ego, and PR magic? Sonnen isn't alone either, with financial lawsuits, unpaid jewelry bills, and the crypto scam lawsuit haunting his name. The money brand seems to be leaking from all sides. Floyd Mayweather has always been the face of untouchable wealth in boxing, the man who turned luxury into a lifestyle, turning his nickname Money into an entire identity. But behind the private jets and million-dollar shopping sprees, the cracks in that image are beginning to show, and they're showing faster than anyone expected. Mayweather is broke, but no one's openly saying it yet, except his old rivals. Even Oscar De La Hoya, a longtime rival turned reluctant supporter, couldn't ignore what's unfolding. De La Hoya, who has often defended Mayweather in public, was recently forced to admit the reality.
But you have to stop embarrassing yourself with these exhibitions. I know life is hard, I know life is expensive, but come on, dude, put your legacy first. Nobody wants to remember you like this. And it gets worse, your jeweler filed a lawsuit against you in Miami. And many are saying you're gonna have to sell off your assets. I hate seeing this happen, bro.
Coming from a promoter who knows both sides of boxing's business, De La Hoya's words weren't just criticism. They sounded more like a financial obituary. The jewelry lawsuit, asset rumors, and a long line of exhibition fights. All signs that Mayweather's so-called billion-dollar empire isn't as bulletproof as the public believed. And the fact that De La Hoya, someone who once stood on the opposite side of the ring, is now offering sympathy instead of rivalry, that speaks louder than any bank statement. But the irony in all of this is that Mayweather didn't stay silent either. While De La Hoya publicly paints a picture of sympathy, Floyd made sure the world remembered the real business history between them. When it comes to money and loyalty, Mayweather has long hinted that De La Hoya wasn't exactly the cleanest operator behind closed doors.
We helped build this guy up. He was fighting on my undercard. He was the co-main. We helped build this guy up. And you know what Oscar De La Hoya do? You know what Mr. Loyal Oscar De La Hoya do? I'm sorry, Miss Disloyal Oscar De La Hoya do? He take him right over to HBO and cut a deal with HBO. And when he cut the deal, he got money, but I bet Canelo didn't see none. But these are the things that people don't know about in a sport of boxing.
For a man who built his reputation on flaunting wealth, this wasn't just about Canelo or old business. This was Mayweather hinting at a pattern of hidden deals, unspoken payouts, and financial games behind the scenes. The same financial games now surfacing in lawsuits, unpaid debts, and quiet asset sales. And it's not just financial experts and retired champions raising eyebrows at Mayweather's empire. Even fighters from his own generation and opponents who stood across from him have started pulling the mask off. Logan Paul, who shared the ring with Mayweather, is still chasing a payday that, according to him, mysteriously vanished after the fight, and his frustration didn't hold back any punches.
No, I got paid. I got paid. Just not in full. Like, there's a couple million somehow that is just missing. Where did the money go? Floyd said he could afford a Jeff Bezos-sized jet from the money he made from that fight. I ain't got no jet. Dude, I'm missing a couple mil. We're gonna find it, bro. I'll see you in court. The audit's happening. Just like, mark my words, we're coming for you, Floyd. We're coming for your millions and the last of your change.
A court case, missing millions, and another crack in the Money Mayweather brand. What started as a boxing exhibition ended with a financial hunt. And Logan isn't the only name hinting that the numbers behind Floyd's fortune might not be adding up. When even the fighters are forced to chase their payouts through the courtroom, it leaves one question off the table. Is Mayweather's financial empire already running on fumes?
Tell us now. Five. All right behind you.
But even as Logan Paul moved forward with his lawsuit, claiming Mayweather never paid his full share for their fight, Floyd didn't stay silent. Instead, he responded in classic Mayweather fashion, flipping the blame back onto the business and brushing the whole scandal off like it was nothing more than loose change.
Right away, just like I'm still collecting checks from fights
7 or 8 years ago. I'm still collecting checks. Why? Because I made smart moves and I'm my own boss. So they hate when a table is turned. You know, look how many years they've been owing us money. But we don't never trip. So now when the table is turned, they say, oh, you owe us something. Be happy with the biggest payday you ever got in your life.
Mayweather's calm dismissal painted the lawsuit as nothing more than routine business, but the timing told a different story. From unpaid opponents to jewelers filing lawsuits and rumors of asset sales, Floyd's financial fortress seems to be facing pressure from every direction, and no amount of smart moves can hide the growing list of people still waiting to be paid. Logan's breakdown pulls back the curtain on a business strategy most fans never see. For years, Mayweather wasn't just making money inside the ring. He was controlling the money around it. From scooping up entire ticket sections before they hit the public, to flipping them for massive profits, Floyd's hustle extended far beyond the fight night.
He is the promotional arm of his fights. It's why, in part, he makes so much money, because whereas a normal promotional company will take 30%, he is that. And so oftentimes for his fights, before the tickets can go on sale to the public, or like right as they go on sale, he'll buy a whole wing, a whole section, and then he'll sell them at a higher price, marked up, so he can make, you know,
like all the floor seat. He takes all of them.
All of them, 3, 4, 5x, and it's part of his business.
On the surface, Logan even admitted the strategy itself wasn't illegal or unusual for someone running their own fight promotions. It was just business. But the real problem, according to him, wasn't about ticket flipping at all. It was about investors being left in the dark and millions of dollars vanishing once the seats were sold.
With this particular lawsuit, he had an investor pay $1.4 million in total for this section, and the investor was promised that the seats would sell at I think a 7 to 8x multiple, and you know, he expected a return on his investment, and sure enough, he didn't get his initial investment back. He's strung along. He gets like 100K here and there, strung along, not getting paid. Now his investment allegedly is being rolled into Floyd's alleged fight with Manny Pacquiao, and so the investors being strung along on this thing, and eventually, like us, it's like, yo, we're simply not getting paid in full. Like, we've been fucking dragged along for way too long now, and this guy finally filed a lawsuit against Floyd Mayweather. So that's the one that's actually active and pending, and then here we are.
What started as a smart business setup slowly spiraled into claims of false promises, unpaid returns, and now courtroom battles. Logan's words echo a pattern that's become hard to ignore. A growing list of fighters, investors, and partners still waiting for Mayweather to settle the bill. While Mayweather's public image continues to orbit around private jets and million-dollar shopping sprees, the cracks in that Money Mayweather empire have started surfacing. And this time, the accusations aren't coming from journalists or bitter ex-promoters. They're coming from the very people who stepped into the ring with him. Logan Paul, who shared one of the most watched exhibition fights of the decade against Mayweather, revealed that the real battle didn't end when the final bell rang. It began after the cameras stopped rolling. And according to Logan, the paycheck that was promised still hasn't arrived.
Or is that something that you can't disclose right now?
He has not paid me in full. That is a fact.
No
short a few mil, yeah.
Wow. Still a few mil.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Have you been in contact with him?
That's crazy.
Nah, we're taking this one to court.
No, are you being serious? Is this like a
Do I look serious, lady?
You do. I'm just making sure. I apologize.
Really?
I'm just...
Nah, I'm fucking with you. I'm not fucking with you. Yeah, we're taking him to court.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So,
yeah, see you in the courtroom. Congrats, you're going to prison, Floyd.
The moment Logan's words hit the internet, the illusion of Mayweather's untouchable wealth began to crumble even further. This wasn't a bitter promoter or an old rival whispering in the shadows. This was a man who had stood in the same ring, shook the same hands, and signed the same contracts. Floyd Mayweather, always confident and unapologetically boasting about his lavish lifestyle, continues to remind everyone that no matter the public's opinion of him, his success remains undeniable. His words serve as a reminder of the wealth he's accumulated and the empire he's built through hard work and business acumen.
That takes care of everything when everything is okay. I still got my private jets. Let me put an S on that because I got 3 of them. Still got my private jets. I still have all my beautiful homes. Still have all my properties everywhere, and still making millions every month.
So you didn't take These statements are more than just a flex. They're a testament to the fact that regardless of the challenges he's faced in and out of the ring, Mayweather has remained a financial force, one whose lifestyle continues to be the envy of many in the world of sports and beyond. While Floyd Mayweather continues to thrive financially and dominates the boxing scene, not everyone agrees with his recent choices. Critics, including Stephen A. Smith, have been vocal about his decision to take on exhibition fights against non-boxers, particularly the infamous Logan Paul matchup. In Smith's eyes, Floyd is risking his legendary status by stepping into the ring with people who don't belong there, diminishing the value of his career. For Smith, Mayweather's behavior is an example of chasing money at the expense of legacy.
When you are as great as Floyd Money Mayweather, everybody doesn't deserve to be in your space. I know you like to make money. You're never going to stop making money. Very, very few people on the planet know how to make money like you know how to make money. But some of this stuff has got to stop. You want to get Conor McGregor in the ring for an exhibition match? All right, that's fine. You know, Conor sold that. It was great marketing. He's not a boxer, but hey, he was a knockout artist in the UFC. I get it. Fair enough. But what I'm trying to say is this. When you're great, when you're elite, not just anybody deserves to be in your pristine space. And what I mean by that is I'm not talking about on the street or anything like that. Boxing is your thing.
While Smith acknowledges that Floyd's ability to generate income is unmatched, he criticizes the idea of giving attention to fights that don't showcase true boxing talent. In his view, these exhibition matches with people like Logan Paul, who have no real boxing background, tarnish Mayweather's legacy and undermine the sport's integrity. Stephen A. believes Floyd has nothing left to prove and should focus on preserving his legendary status rather than indulging in fights that make headlines but don't contribute to his legacy in the ring. They say the higher you climb, the harder you fall, when for Floyd Mayweather, the fall might have already happened behind closed doors. The man who once counted his millions on camera, flaunting cash like confetti, is now surrounded by lawsuits, unpaid debts, and whispers of a financial empire collapsing from the inside out. For years, Mayweather convinced the world he was untouchable. The king of pay-per-view, the master of luxury, the man who turned boxing into a billion-dollar business. But what if the money was never really there? What if the private jets, the diamond chains, and the flashy bank slips were nothing more than props in the greatest financial illusion the fight world has ever seen?
Man, and it's crazy, but it's happening. Yeah, 50 Cent is pretty much exposing the fact that Floyd Mayweather is having issues, but it was not 50 that started it. It was actually Business Insider.
They got Floyd here. It says Floyd Mayweather is stepping into Manhattan's multi-family ring in a big way. The retired boxer has gone into a contract to pay $420 million for a 1,000-unit affordable housing portfolio with more than 60 buildings, according to sources familiar to the deal. Josh Gotti of Black Spruce Management is the seller, and Black Spruce Magazine declined comment. It says also here that the investor partnered with Maynard Orchard on a $1.8 billion deal for 1,766 units spanning 6 rental buildings and in acquisition of the American Cooper Building, twin luxury towers in Murray Hills with the view of the East River.
The $402 million scam isn't just a headline, it's a warning. Behind the designer suits and staged Instagram photos, the truth about Floyd's so-called fortune is starting to surface. And this time, no amount of PR can save the money brand from bankruptcy. And if you think the $402 million scandal was the end of the story, think again. The deeper this rabbit hole goes, the uglier the truth looks for Floyd Mayweather. Behind all the Instagram filters and private jet photo ops, the real Floyd might just be another victim of his own ego. A man so obsessed with looking rich, he forgot to stay rich. And when Stephen A. Smith starts questioning your financial reality on national TV, it's no longer just haters talking. It's a clear sign the walls are closing in. Floyd Mayweather didn't just sell fights, he sold the dream of untouchable wealth. But the moment you peel away the flashy watches and staged bank slips, all that's left is a man running out of time, out of luck, and, by the looks of these lawsuits, out of money. The $402 million scam wasn't just a bad business move. It might have been the final nail in the coffin for the Money Mayweather myth. What do you think? Is Mayweather's money empire finally falling apart, or has he been playing the world all along? Share your thoughts in the comments section.
Man, that is a double. I did a double on y'all, man. Mayweather, I cannot believe this. Is he in? Joe Rogan and Mike Tyson exposed reasons why Floyd Mayweather went box news. Mayweather, you're getting a little too cocky, man, so I don't know. Hey, y'all let me know what y'all think. I'm still getting into this. Is a news story for me. So I don't know what's going on. Only thing I know is past my bedtime. So I'm going to get on up out of here. Hey, y'all take it light, take it slow. Tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Balloons going up in the air. Peace out. Thumbs up. Watch this. Thumbs up. Okay. Hi, Dad. That's crazy. Peace out, y'all.